It's only been 2 weeks, but we already see how important it is to stash those high upside players on the bench. Holding on to a guy like Jerome Ford in case the worst happens, or picking up a player with a high ceiling like Jaden Reed before he goes off. If you did those, you're happy. Running backs keep going down, so who will be the next smart stash that could pay off big time in your waiver wire? Don't forget that if you haven't tried Underdog, this is a great time to sign up. They always have new customer specials. Make sure you use promo code ENDGAME to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Take part in the 100K Sunday, again, giving away $10,000 to 10 different users just for using the higher lower pick on Tyreek Hill. So check it out right now. Go to Underdog and use promo code ENDGAME. A lot of backfields have changed recently. Let's start with the one that just got shaken up kind of out of nowhere, and not even because of injury. The Rams have decided Kyren Williams is the guy. Cam Akers is clearly not. Now he's a Viking, so he's completely off the roster. Logically, that opens up a spot for somebody else to be the backup and to maybe have potential to take over as a starter. Look, as good as Kyren Williams has looked over 2 games, I'm not just going to assume that a 5'9" running back is going to be the next Todd Gurley. He might get used that way, but at some point, someone else is going to have to contribute. And of course, there's always the possibility that he gets injured because he's a running back. So far, it's been Ronnie Rivers who's been the next guy up, but I'm looking for upside here. I'm looking for a stash, and I'm looking at a guy that I was very interested in all summer, and that's Zach Evans. Evans was definitely not a bell cow in college, partly because he transferred after 2 years at TCU to Ole Miss, put up some good numbers. He made some big plays, just didn't put up overwhelming numbers. But you've got to like his potential because he has that speed. He can make those big runs. Somebody who could fit very well in this offense if he gets a shot. Again, right now, he's not somebody you should pick up for the short term. He's somebody to stash, just like all of these guys. This is a speculative ad. But look at how many backup running backs have already become so valuable. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you who the best stashes are. Right now, Evans is on my radar. Now, part of the reason that Evans moved away from TCU is because Kendre Miller was already there. He had a pretty good season last year. Almost 1,400 yards. In fact, he was one shy of getting 1,400 on the ground. We were talking up Miller a lot throughout the offseason. Well, nothing has happened. He had a real chance to contribute right away because of the Kamara suspension, but hamstring injury has kept him out, so he hasn't played a snap yet. But it's going to happen in week 3 because now Jamal Williams is out and it looks like Miller is good to go. In fact, they've already declared him ready. The reason this isn't an immediate waiver wire pickup, a guy that you might even want to stream or stash now, is because, well, he's probably not going to play that much. Let's face it, it's his first NFL game. He's just coming off that injury. This team is going to probably roll with Tony Jones. Hey, look, Tony Jones was decent last week. But Miller will get some touches. I don't think it'll be enough to make him a waiver wire pickup priority to other people. So he's probably still going to be floating around there. Miller is a smart guy to pick up right now because even when Kamara does come back, he could have a role. Williams supposedly will be out multiple weeks. And let's face it, Miller just might be the most talented running back in this backfield when all is said and done. A lot of people still thinking Kamara is that same guy from his rookie season. He's not, and they will need some other running back to help fill the void. And then another backup running back who probably is on no radars, but in Dallas, behind Tony Pollard, who is being used as a workhorse back, it looks like his backup is Rico Dowdle. Now, Dowdle was there last year, but they still had Zeke at that time. Now it looks like he's just taken over that role. Change of pace guy, but interestingly enough, also getting you some use in the red zone. So even though last week he only got 7 carries, 26 yards, he was getting goal line carries and was really close to getting a touchdown. In fact, he went down, I think, at like the 1 foot line. This Cowboys offense has been so fantasy friendly to running backs, and that's because, of course, their defense has been so dominant. Sure, schedule helps, but still, is this defense not going to be dominant the rest of the season? I think it will. The running game is still going to be effective. So far, Tony Pollard has gotten 12 carries just in the money zone, talking about inside that 10-yard line. And so if Dowdle gets just a small share of that work, he's going to have some value, especially in standard leagues. Really hoping this doesn't happen. But if something happens to Pollard, Dowdle will become a very hot commodity. And now at receiver, I'm going to talk about a couple of rookies. But Michael Wilson, rookie out of Stanford, is serving as the number 3 receiver there. He's on the field 66% of offensive snaps. That's pretty good right away. And he's been doing the best he can with the targets he's gotten. Not a prolific passing offense with Josh Dobbs currently serving as quarterback, but he's averaging 10.7 yards per target. That means when he does get looks, he's doing the most he can with them. This guy has a lot of speed, known for making big plays. He fell a little bit on draft day because, well, injuries have happened in his career, but this guy looks really good so far. When Kyler Murray does come back, this guy could definitely be worth starting and flexing even. And then let's go with an undrafted free agent who's a rookie, but I'll tell you why I'm interested in Demario Douglas in New England. Now, in week 1, he made an impact already, got targeted 7 times, caught 4 balls for 40 yards. In week 2, took a step back, only caught 2 passes, and the big reason is because he made the mistake of fumbling the ball, had it knocked out from behind. You know what happens if you're on a Bill Belichick team and you fumble the ball. You immediately go to the doghouse. He sat and didn't play other than on special teams after that. Now, the Patriots also have an intriguing rookie receiver in Kayshon Boutte, but he has a hamstring injury and didn't even do anything in week 2. He's been struggling with his catch rate. I think Douglas is ahead of him. Douglas looked really good throughout training camp and the preseason, and that's why he earned his roster spot. He can work his way up this depth chart. Look, Kendrick Bourne is getting a ton of air yards, but like last week, even though he got 9 targets, only caught 4 of them. Those targets just aren't on point. Bourne is there, but again, this is not somebody who's going to hold off an ascending rookie. Devontae Parker, forever questionable health-wise, and you just can't count on him. And then Juju. I mean, what is Juju these days? The lowest A-dot receiver in the league. This does look like a team that even though they're not great at passing the ball, they will have to pass the ball at times. Now, when you look at the schedule, you might think, this is a terrible time to be even thinking about a Patriots receiver because they get defenses the next 3 weeks in the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Saints, which could be the 3 best pass defenses in the league. But tell you what happens in those cases, guys like Sauce Gardner and Trevon Diggs and Rashawn Lattimore, they're covering the top receiver on the opponent's offense. They're not looking out for guys like Demario Douglas. He could find a way to carve a role in this offense. Look, I'm not saying he's a must-add or anything like this, but I do think long-term he's going to continue to grow in this offense. He looks like he might actually be the most effective receiver in New England. And after 2 weeks, right now, he's actually top 20 in fantasy points per snap. So he's on the field, he's doing something. These are the kind of deep pickups that you make that maybe don't look like great ads right now, but they could pay off later. Always shoot for that upside. For more lineup advice and everything you need to help win this week, check out our playlist for week 3.